residence lies on a 27-acre island a mile off the tip of Lower Manhattan.
It's a formidable building built of red brick and limestone, 4 large towers.
This is Ellis Island Immigration Station, the former Grand Gateway for newcomers to New York City. In its prime, it welcomed 5,000 immigrants a day. But for Sam Von Trapp, whose singing family inspired the film The Sound of Music, the island is a poignant reminder that their classic musical saga almost never got told.
It was a very difficult chapter in my family's efforts to emigrate to the United States.
So what is the true story of the world-famous Von Trapp family? Salzburg, Austria, 1938. A talented family of singers has burst onto the music scene as one of the finest choral groups in Europe. They are the Von Trapps. But in the spring of 1938, when Nazi Germany occupies Austria, their lives take a frightening turn. The head of the family, Baron Von Trapp, a former Austrian naval commander, refuses to go into service for Hitler's navy. He declines to fly a swastika flag from his family home. And then he commits the ultimate act of defiance.
My family was invited to sing at Hitler's birthday party, which might have been an honor to many people, but my family just absolutely knew they couldn't do that.
Having insulted the Führer, the family is an easy target for Hitler's brutal secret police, the Gestapo.
The Nazi Party was totally ruthless. There's no question that if the family had been arrested, they would have been liquidated.
Fearing for their lives, the family leaves Austria and embarks on a transcontinental singing tour. And when war breaks out in Europe, returning home is no longer an option.
America seemed like the best refuge.
So, on October 7, 1939, after 10 days at sea, the Von Trapp family of 12 disembarks on a Brooklyn dock with a 6-month work visa and an itinerary to perform concerts across America. Eldest son Rupert is first through immigration. Born outside of Austria, Rupert's Italian passport sees him through without incident. But when the rest of the family approaches the immigration desk in the traditional attire of their Nazi-occupied homeland, suspicions are aroused. And then, Maria Von Trapp makes a fatal slip-up.
My mother said to the immigration officer when she was asked, "How long do you plan on staying?" "Oh, officer, I'm so glad to be here. I never want to leave." This is not a good thing to say when you have a visitor's visa.
Fearing that the family may have Nazi sympathies and may not be planning to abide by the terms of their visas, the authorities immediately take them into custody. The only one to make it through customs is Rupert, who reluctantly leaves his loved ones and finds his way to Manhattan. But the rest of the Von Trapp family is taken to the detention facility at Ellis Island.
There were bars across the windows. They were allowed only a half hour to go outside each day. It was, for all accounts and purposes, a prison.
After several days, the Von Trapp family is called before a judge to determine their intentions and whether they harbor German sympathies.
Basically, he didn't believe my family, and they were put back in detention. And at that point, things really looked bad.
Now the family faces imminent deportation. If turned away from America and sent home, the Von Trapps fear they could be delivered into the hands of the Gestapo.
This was very scary. They were looking at the possibility of being sent back to Europe as it was really exploding into World War II.
Meanwhile, their eldest son, Rupert, who, thanks to his Italian passport, is the only member of the clan to have escaped confinement, manages to track down the number of a prominent friend in Philadelphia. His name is Harry Drinker.
Harry Drinker was well connected, and through his law firm had relationships with politicians and various people of influence.
Drinker puts in a call to Washington and vouches for the good character of the family. The next morning, the Von Trapps are released.
I'm sure it was an enormous relief for my family when they were able to leave Ellis Island and see the Statue of Liberty from outside the barred windows.
And the Von Trapp family gratefully embraces their new freedom in America. As World War II intensifies, the Von Trapps qualify as refugees, and their visas are extended.
They continue to travel and sing, and were actually the most prolific performing artists for Columbia artists at that point, giving over 90 concerts a year.
The family eventually settles in Vermont, surrounded by mountain landscapes reminiscent of their Austrian homeland, and opens a ski resort, the Trapp Family Lodge. In 1949, Maria publishes a book about the family's adventures, which is later turned into the Oscar-winning classic, The Sound of Music. But here in New York's harbor, Ellis Island stands as a reminder of a surprising chapter in the lives of these celebrated singers, and the much-loved movie that might have had a very different ending. Covering an area of